Hey guys, Bios Ramos, and today the Dolphins lost to the Denver Broncos 13-20, and it was not a good game by any means. Even though it was within a touchdown, it was not really that close. The Dolphins' defense did not look so good, and neither did the offense. So, all around, it wasn't really a good team performance. And let's talk more about some of the team stats and stuff. Total yards of offense 223 from the Dolphins, 459 from the Broncos. Turnovers, Miami had one turnover, Denver had two turnovers. Time of possession 29 minutes, 41 seconds for the Dolphins, 30 minutes, and 19 seconds for the Broncos. First downs, Miami 17, Denver 19. And it's just, it is just not fortunate at all. So, this name, if you haven't watched the game, may have surprised you. Ryan Fitzpatrick was the Dolphins' leading passer. And no, maybe, I don't know. Tua supposedly got hurt later in the game, but either way, he wasn't having a good game. But Ryan Fitzpatrick finished the day, his one drive, two drives. He had 12 for 18 completion and attempts, 117 yards, no touchdowns, one interception, and he wasn't sacked. And then we have Tua Tagovailoa had 11 completions for 20 attempts, 83 yards, one touchdown, and was sacked 6 times for a loss of 33 yards. 6 times. Oh, man. Drew Lock went 18 for 30, 270 yards, and one interception that went to Xavier Howard. Now, rushing. Savon Ahmed had 12 carries for 43 yards. Ryan Fitzpatrick had 2 carries for 6 yards. Matt Breida had 2 carries for 4 yards. Jakeem Grant had 1 carry for 3 yards. Next, we have Melvin Gordon, who had, for the Broncos, had 15 carries for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. His longest was 25, which I believe was his big touchdown run. Then Philip Lindsay had 16 carries for 82 yards. Drew Lock had 2 carries for 23 yards. That's 189 total yards of offense of rushing. Just to put it in perspective. Devontae Parker was the Dolphins' leading receiver with 6 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Mike Gesicki was next with 4 receptions, 43 yards. Savon Ahmed had 5 receptions for 31 yards. Malcolm Perry had 3 receptions, 23 yards. Antonio Callaway had 1 reception for 13 yards. Jakeem Grant had 2 receptions for 12 yards. Matt Collins, 1 reception, 9 yards. And Patrick Laird, 1 reception, 8 yards. And Durham Smythe was targeted once. Tim Patrick had 5 receptions, 119 yards. Longest was 61 yards, which I believe was that 4th down play on the last play of the game, just to kill those last 4 seconds. And it's unfortunate. Noah Fant had 4 receptions for 55 yards. Jerry Jeudy had 3 receptions, 37 yards. KJ Hamler had 4 receptions, 35 yards. Nick Vannett had 2 receptions, 24 yards, and Troy Fumagalli, I believe I said that right, had 1 target. Totaling for the Denver's offense, 270 yards to the Dolphins, 200. Again, rushing 56 to 189. So offense was not the catalyst for the Dolphins this week, which hasn't been at all. Melvin Gordon fumbled it once. It was caused by Andrew Van Ginkel and recovered by Eric Rowe. That was a good play. That's what gave the Dolphins an opportunity because it was literally on the Denver 1-yard line where we recovered the ball. And let's say Denver gets the touchdown, which they called it a touchdown on the field, which was nowhere near being a touchdown. Obviously, they reversed it, gave it a fumble, which was the right call. But, I mean, at that moment in time, I was furious. I was so mad. I did not believe that they were actually calling that a touchdown at first. I'm like, are you guys serious right now? But point is, we did not let them in, which set up the drive that set us up for the field goal that put us within a touchdown. But overall, that was just, a horrible, horrible game. Eric Rowe was the Dolphins' leading tackler with 10 total tackles, 7 solo. Xavier Howard had 7 total tackles, 6 solo, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 pass deflections. Bobby McCain, 6 total, 3 solo. Landon Roberts, 5 total, 3 solo, 1 tackle for a loss. Let's get into some key stats. Nick Needham had 2 pass deflections. Kyle Van Noy had 2 QB hits. Zach Sealer and Emmanuel Agba both had a tackle for a loss. Andrew Van Ginkel had a QB hit. And what else we have here? Brandon Jones had 1 tackle for a loss. Shaq Lawson had a QB hit, and that's about all the key stats for the Dolphins. Justin Simmons was the Denver Broncos defensive MVP because he had 7 total tackles, 6 solo, and he had an interception, which I'll talk about that later. 2 pass deflections from him as well. Alexander Johnson had 6 total, 5 solo. Malik Reed had 6 total, 4 solo. 1.5 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, and 3 QB hits. Bradley Chubb had 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, and 1 QB hit. Deshaun Williams had 2 sacks, 2 tackle for a loss, 2 QB hits. Demonte Jones had 1 sack, 1 QB hit. Kareem Jackson had 1 pass deflection. So did Sylvester Williams and AJ Bouye. DeMarcus Walker had a half a sack and a QB hit. That was about all for the defensive key stats. Xavier Howard had an interception return for 10 yards, and Justin Simmons had a interception that sealed the game for the Denver Broncos. There was no kick returns for Miami. Denver had 1 kick return for 22 yards. Jakeem Grant had a punt return for 6 yards, and Deontay Spencer had 3 returns for 10 yards on the punt. Now, kicking game, Jason Sanders went 2 for 2 on field goals, 1 for 1 on extra point. Brandon McManus went 2 for 2 on field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points. Matt Hack went 6 punts, 284 yards, no touchbacks. 1 was in the 20, and the longest was 54. And then Sam Martin had 3 punts for 156 yards. 1 was in the 20, and longest was 56 yards. So, all those stats out of the way, that puts the Dolphins down to 6-4. And it's quite unfortunate because, honestly, we could have had the same record as the Bills this week if we would have won, and then that could have set up so many different things down the line for the Dolphins. But it's unfortunate. Denver improves to 4-6. They're still going to be 3rd in the division no matter what happens tonight between Kansas City and Las Vegas, because Kansas City is 8-1 and Vegas is 6-3. But besides that, it was unfortunate. The Dolphins just could not get anything going on, honestly, either side of the ball. Early on in the game, the defense was looking good. We were getting in Drew Lock's face. I wouldn't say we were really getting there, but it just honestly just was not looking good for the Dolphins. It was honestly quite unfortunate what we were trying to do, and offensively we couldn't get anything going. So then the defense would be out there majority of the time. I mean, we were doing a better job of it in the second half, but by that point it was already too late. And heading into the halftime, I don't know why we don't call a timeout with about 40-something seconds left to go to give our team somewhat of a chance to add some points at half, because we were down, I believe, we were down 3 points at half, and Denver got the ball back. And they get a touchdown, and that basically puts the game away because it was 10-20 at that time, and not really much going on for the offense, especially when Tua's getting sacked almost every other play. So it's really frustrating as a fan to watch this game, but it is what it is. So yeah, Fitzpatrick came in the game. He led us down the field twice. First time he got us enough to get us in field goal range, and then the second time we were about to be in the red zone or something like that, and then he throws an interception right into Justin Simmons' hands. It's honestly a little frustrating. This was like one of those games that Dolphins should have won. I wouldn't call it a trap game necessarily, even though it kind of was. The Dolphins were on a 5-game winning streak, and you look at the rest of the Dolphins' schedule, and you're like, man, they could really win this game, and this game. And that's what happens sometimes when you get ahead of yourself and be like, all right, these people could easily go over these guys like no problem. And then when it gets to actual time, it's not the case, as you can see what happened this week. Which I was saying, this was a very winnable game, and we just, I don't even know, man. It was just not good on either side of the ball. It was really unfortunate, but still positive. We're 6-4 in the year, 3-2 away. But this is one of those games that I feel like the Dolphins really needed, especially down the line. If we had this win in our back pocket, so much could happen. This still has us at I think they were mentioning we are at the sixth spot in the standings, but that just means that we're gonna be just on kind of very close to being on the outside looking in, especially with Cleveland and Tennessee getting wins today, because Cleveland, Indianapolis, and Tennessee. So we need Vegas to lose, and Baltimore already lost, so they have the same record as us. But the team that's right behind us is the team that just beat us, the Denver Broncos. So if we start slipping and they start climbing, watch out for the Denver Broncos. And the Patriots also won today, which has them at 4-6. So honestly, anything can happen. There's about, I'd say, 6 games left in the season for the Dolphins to do anything. And it took a bad turn this week, but as of late, we've been doing good. We have a plus 62 point differential throughout this season so far. So we need to just get those things up and up and up, and just keep on winning games, and we'll have a better chance at stuff. But it's looking rough at this very moment, at today, November 22nd. But we have 6 more games to go. We play the Jets next week, so I mean, if we lose that game, I'm calling this season over, and the Dolphins, the Dolphins will not do anything if we lose to the Jets next week. So, but we have the Jets, then the Bengals, who just lost. Joe Burrow for this year. He tore his ACL off of a bad hit. Then we have the Chiefs, Patriots, Raiders, and Bills. So we need to win these next 2 games if we really, really, really want to put ourselves in a good spot, because those last 4 games, I've been saying this very often, those last 4 games are going to be the difference makers of this Dolphins season. So be on the lookout for that, and hopefully, we could get these next 2 wins and go into this Chiefs game feeling a lot better about ourselves than probably we do feel about it right now. But that's about it I have for you guys this week. Sorry if it's kind of felt lackluster. I just very bombarded with schoolwork, and also made an article about the defensive performance this week. So check that out when you get the chance at 305 Sports. It's going to be under my name, Oscar Ramos. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and fins up.